worry about the language. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What's going on, everybody? How you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing well. Before we get started, remember to please subscribe and to hit the like button and share if you want to. That is going to help the algorithms and help people get information about what we are doing. So please make sure you guys like and subscribe the video right now. It'll take you a second just to smash that like button, inshallah, so you can get some traction on the algorithm here, because that helps us get some exposure. So we've got some people here already. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Call me Papa. Welcome. Tartalar. Welcome. Dilan Mian. Welcome. Bilal Tariq. Welcome. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So, just as a quick intro to this, I generally don't talk about these kinds of things on the channel, but I decided to go ahead and do this simply for the fact that a lot of people are talking about cryptocurrency these days, and some of you that follow me, on the Mad Mamluks and also on the Muzzy Bus channel, and even on Twitter and other social media areas, I'm always talking about or tweeting about cryptocurrency. And I'm taking a jab at certain people, and I'm talking about it, as well as I'm also mentioning it on the Mad Mamluks. And for those of you that don't know, we have a WhatsApp group, and in the WhatsApp group we have people that that comment and fans that are there. And so we talk about cryptocurrency there as well too. And so I oftentimes mention certain things and give signals to certain people, but. That is why that led to a whole lot of questions. What do you think about cryptocurrency? What is it? What are you guys going to do? What are you buying? Should we do it? Should we not do it? So first and foremost, I just want to, premise this by saying that I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is everything that I'm telling you right now. You should do your own research on it. Money is important. Your money is important to you. You never want to lose money. You never want to put, and as a word of advice, you never want to invest money into anything that you can't lose. So what do I mean by that? It doesn't matter if it's $10 or $100,000. If you can lose $100,000 and not worry about it, then use $100,000 to invest in different things. If you can only lose $10, then start with $10. But start somewhere is my point, right? But never invest money that you need and money that you will be relying on in the short term. So, for example, what do I mean by that? Let's say you have, you get a paycheck and you have rent coming up in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, right? Don't spend your rent money hoping you're going to make your money back like this, right? It doesn't work that way. Many people go bankrupt that way because they get too optimistic about the investments, right? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Josh. So again, whenever you're talking about any investments, whether it's the stock market, whether it's a business, whether it's forex trading, whether it's cryptocurrency, never invest money that you're going to need in the short term or long term. Okay, so that's number one, and obviously more importantly, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. I'm only answering some common questions and talking about what I do myself and why I've been talking about cryptocurrency for a long time. So since this is going to be a Q&A, please feel free to interrupt me anytime you want to, because I'm going to give questions priority here, because I get a lot of questions on various platforms, and I want to spend this time with you guys to give you guys the opportunity to ask me questions about what I do and with cryptocurrency and whatever it may be. So if there's any questions, I'll be looking out for that one. If there are any mods in the room, please make sure that you get. If I miss one, please make sure I get a hold of that. So moving along. Why did Mort look at cryptocurrency in the beginning? Well, like many of you, in 2016 and 2017, I saw a rise in Bitcoin, right? And I'm like, oh my God, this coin is worth, it's worth, I think at that time, $800 or $700, right? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. But I'm like, man, I missed out. The coin's $1,000 almost. It's probably not going to go up any higher. I got to find the next big thing. Right? Little did I know. In hindsight, $800 is really cheap for Bitcoin. I would buy a boatload right now. If it was, if this was, now, what I knew now, I would buy a lot of it, right? A crap ton of it. But at that time, it just seemed like something so new and out of this world. And I couldn't imagine it being something worth $40,000, $50,000, $1,000, even now projecting to be $100,000, $1 million. I couldn't imagine it being that one. So I said, let me find something like this. Obviously, I knew that there's something around cryptocurrency that's causing a buzz. Why is it important? And more importantly, what can I do? Like, what is the next coin that I can use, right? What is the next, coin that I can get into that's going to make me the same give me the same exponential growth? And that led me to buy Litecoin. So in 2017, I purchased Litecoin at I think it was around $20 a coin, $20 to $30 a coin, somewhere in that range. And then in that year, I think within months of that, I think that's when Bitcoin hit that new high, like boom, it just went up to I think it hit like 4,000, then it went to like 12,000. I mean, and Litecoin went to like $340. And I was new to cryptocurrency. So the mistake I made was I thought this is going to go to $1,000. And I just held on to this coin thinking, oh, it's going to dip, whatever. But the crash happened. And so I made money, alhamdulillah, because I bought it very low. But I could have made a lot more money if I sold it, right? But I didn't know. I mean, I was, new to the whole game. By the way, sorry about the long hair. There's no barbers open. I can't get a haircut, so I'm looking really shaggy. But, usually, for those of you that know me, I like to keep my hair down as a buzz cut. I don't like hair on my head. Too much to maintain. It gets too hot, But anyways, so I kept it, right? But what happened is just for those of you that don't know, in 2017, the government decided to regulate cryptocurrency, and that regulation made people panic. They shut down exchanges in China, India, Russia. America was saying no. Exchanges like Gemini, GDAX, all these things, Binance, they were being under heavy regulation and all that stuff. All right, alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All right, thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it. So that caused the price to go down. But me being, stubborn as it is, I began to, look into this and say, what is the intrinsic value behind cryptocurrency? Hold on, a question here. No, I get confused for being Puerto Rican and Latin a lot, but I am actually, I'm a mix. I am half Arab and half South Asian / Central Asian, you could put that way. Yeah, I mean, it's a long history, but I'm a mixture, okay? Yeah, family is a mixture of things. Yes, my father's side is Yemeni, and my mother's side are from Hyderabad, India, by way of Central Asia. They were Mughals. They came from northern India, and they became part of the Mughal Empire. But anyways, so we're going to continue on here. Let's try to keep the questions about cryptocurrency. When we can go do the other Q&A later on. That'd be great, because I'm trying to get this out here. I'm trying to keep the subject matter condensed. There's a lot to talk about and not a limited time. By the way, we'll talk about that in a second. Dilan Mian, we'll talk about that. My mother ended up moving to Pakistan, so I have family in Pakistan as well too. I went to Pakistan for the first time in 2018. I love the country. Beautiful people and beautiful place, mashallah. But anyway, so I decided to look at cryptocurrency, and that led me to where I am today, why I'm a believer in Bitcoin. So why Bitcoin? Why is it so important? Why is there a crave around Bitcoin? Well, what is the money that we use today, right? We use money which is called fiat currency, right? Central banks and government authorities issue currencies that are regulated by their own institutions and also globally by the IMF, right? And they have a habit of controlling currency and the rate and flow of the money, right? Inflation, deflation, loans, sovereign guarantees, credit ratings. All of these things are influenced by a select group of elitists that have control over your financial destiny, right? And for me, being number one, a rebel by nature, I don't like that. I don't like the fact that some guy at Wall Street or some suit and tie guy can decide how much my money is going to be worth, or decide to, print money. And just to talk about that, that's also an interesting thing. The idea of printing money, fiat currency, right? Now, people don't understand this too much, and it's a common phrase, or the printing money out of thin air, right? It's not exactly that way, but the effect of it is what we're talking about, which is the same, right? But the way it works in America is the only way the Federal Reserve will print money is if the government can guarantee that they have bonds that are backed, that people have purchased bonds that will mature. And then when they have that guarantee, they can go to the Federal Reserve and have that money printed. It's okay, look, now we know we're going to get money in the future. So we're monetizing this bond, this government bond, issued bond that we have to people, and they sell them to people like Saudi Arabia, China, or, other sovereign countries. And based on that, the Federal Reserve will then go ahead and monetize that, and they print more money based on that. But essentially all it is an IOU, right? It's all about, I on paper, I owe you this much money, and and this in a few years, this is what it's going to be worth, right? Now, with cryptocurrency, the idea is that banks no longer have that power. It's not centralized anymore. It's decentralized, meaning that we have a public ledger that we are going to, everybody can acknowledge and look at, and it can be verified by multiple people, and which will prevent any corruption or any illegal movement of money, or any disappearance of money, or any manipulation of money, or any of that. It cannot be controlled by the U.S. government, by the Chinese government, by the Venezuelan, by the Cuban, by the Iranians, by the Saudis. It's controlled by the people. The public ledger is understood because no one can corrupt it. You have multi-node verification, right? And this is blockchain technology, meaning that blockchain is cryptology, which is a form of encryption and a methodical process through computing where you verify information and data, and essentially it's peer-to-peer. So you have multiple people verifying information that's being sent across, and they all agree simultaneously that they all agree. You cannot differ from that, right? So you have multiple verification stages. Hold on. Josh says in a super chat here, are you along any other altcoins? Do you have show them? Yeah, I'll get to that inshallah. Okay, let me just finish this here, Josh, and then we'll get to that because that's an important question, and we'll get more into strategies a little bit later on. But I wanted to just deal with this because a lot of people don't know what Bitcoin is and why it's an important, why there's store value in it. And I think that's an important thing, because I will say this much, that here, yes. So this is one thing. One thing though, all these virtual currencies have no real intrinsic value. These values are determined by hype and what people think they're worth. Yeah. Okay. Now this is maybe true, but this is true for anything, Anonymous, right? Like I'll present this argument to anybody. The American dollar, the paper dollar, is only worth what we're willing to agree to it on. It's an IOU, right? Even, for example, let's take gold, right? Let's take gold for a matter, right? In gold, let me ask you this question, and I'll pose you, and I like these kind of questions because they make you think, and maybe it can shape my view, right? But let's just go back to the question or the comment here. So let me ask you this: if you were starving in some, let's I don't want to piss off anybody off in the country, but let's just call the country XYZ. Let's say you belong to country XYZ and you were starving, a starving nation, but you have gold in your presence, right? Like you can mine gold, right? Do you think that for your tribe that 1 kilogram of gold is worth more than 1 kilogram of rice? The obvious answer is that 1 kilogram of rice is worth more than 1 kilogram of gold to you because you're starving, right? So you're only willing to pay for something that people agree on is worth more money, right? And your tribe believes that 1 kilogram of rice is worth more money than 1 kilogram of gold, right? So at that moment, it's based on what what you're willing to pay for. For example, another classic example of this is diamonds. Diamonds are not rare in the world. Diamonds are only worth what people are willing to pay for them, right? There are many precious gems and stones in the world today, right? It doesn't really matter, but it's what we're willing to agree on, right? But what we've done with fiat currency, which I'm not necessarily opposed to, but what we've done is that instead of, carrying around 100 cows and carrying around 100 coins of gold in your hand, right? Like, and your pockets being swollen, or you're carrying around 150 pounds of currency, we've said, you know what? This little piece of paper or piece of leather is worth $10, right? Me and you agree, we agree it's $10, and it's going to be worth money wherever I go, right? It is what it is. And we agree with that, right? So the problem though is that when it can be manipulated, right? That's the problem. And the problem is that this manipulation can be done with gold. It has been done with gold. It can be done with silver. It can be done with food. It can be done with rice. It can be done with anything. Because you have one person or one entity of people, a centralized individual that can control the flow of it, the supply and demand of it. And that's always been a problem. That's why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, right? Because they can control the flow of this. Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general, what it does is it gives the power back to the small guy. It says, hey, look, you want to hold it? Good. You want to sell it? Good. Your business. We can't control that. You see what I'm saying? Like, you can't, because I can't, for example, you can't make Bitcoin worth more in America than it is in India or in Yemen or in Africa, right? Bitcoin is going to be the same no matter where you go, right? There's no, you can't print, no one can print this. Nobody can demand that we make changes or regulate it because it's not regulated by an authority. It's not owned by any government. Likewise, with gold, right? If you look at gold, you have the LBMA, right? You have the London Bullion Market, the price they price on the LBMA, right? So the problem, what I'm getting at is that regulation makes things difficult, and human beings don't like regulation when it comes to their money, right? We want to be able to be free to spend our money the way we want to, and so I'm not worried about the fact that it's worth what people think it's worth, because we've been that way forever. And I think that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is a great way to challenge the banking institutions and say, listen, you know what? You are no longer going to have control over my loans. You're no longer going to take the money I give you. Many of you put money into bank accounts, right? And which is fine. We all do that. But the bank monetizes your money. Your bank adds it to the ledger, and they monetize. They loan your money out and they give it to other people, right? Alaikum assalam, welcome, Jib698. If you, thank you very much, Jazakallah khair for the sticker. But yes, the thing is, they do this, right? So what I'm trying to say is that now this is giving power back to the people. Now let me go back in here. Let me just there's a question that came up in earlier, right here. Some have said the stock market is haram. What's your opinion of the Bitcoin market in contrast? So listen, I'm not a scholar, but I will say this much: the stock market it can be haram and it can be halal depending on what you're investing in, right? It's like the stock market means you're investing in businesses, and also there's other areas. And keep in mind, I'm not an expert. I'm not a knowledgeable expert in the stock market. I'm very ignorant of it, but I know there's an element of gambling, meaning that, like, for example, it depends on how you invest in it, right? Like, for example, there's futures and options, like you're predicting that something is going to be worth a certain amount of money, or you're hoping, or you're trying to do that, right? That may be a very fine line, right? Or maybe you're involved in price manipulation, right? Purposely driving prices down, unethical business, right? These are things that you have to worry about in the market, right? Controlling the market, affecting it so people lose money so you make money, right? This is unethical, right? This is like stuff that you do that it's conniving. And we as Muslims should not be conniving people, right? We should be people that are upright and forthcoming about our business, right? We should have things written in contract. Then there's an issue about, what is your money being invested into? Is it being invested into haram? Is it alcohol? Is it pork? Is it drugs? Is it, whatever it may be? Is it gambling, right? We don't know these things, right? So there's a huge cloud over this, right? But with cryptocurrency in general, I'm not going to say every one of them is halal. I'm sure there's some of them that may be involved in something weird. Like, for example, I believe there was some cryptocurrency that was linked to some porn website, right? Where you would gain more tokens by watching pornography or something. I don't know what it was, but those kind of things would be haram. I mean, no matter what. But generally, Bitcoin is not really involved in that, right? It's not really. It's something that's a store value. It's not. You're not generating money by being involved in a business, right? Generally speaking, 99.9% of the coins out there are not involved in some kind of brick and mortar or online business venture where you're generating income from that. You're generating income or increasing your net worth based on the fact that the token or the coin is going to rise in value, right? It's kind of like gold, right? Like if you buy gold, it's not like you're investing in a haram business. You're buying an asset, and you recognize that asset is rare, and it's going to continue to be rarer. So therefore, you know that because of supply and demand and the rarity of the asset, the price is going to eventually go up. And we know that Bitcoin only has 3 million more to be mined. There's 21 million total, and we're about 18 something odd million. There's about 3 million that are left to be mined, and so therefore, as we come closer to the complete mining of it, the value of it becomes more expensive because it becomes rarer, right? So I hope that answers your question. The fact that the government didn't ban Bitcoin seems to me they're very well. With Sam, I think they tried to, but the problem is that they couldn't because you can't regulate something that can pop up anywhere. People already had it. They were already trading on the black market. It's like, you know what I equate this to? It's like when the American government had the Prohibition Act in the 1920s. They wanted to ban alcohol because they knew that alcohol was horrible for human beings. It was causing all kinds of problems, leading to illegal activities and whatever it may be. But they just couldn't do it because people were so dependent on it. People used it so much. People were moonshining. They were going to war over it. It became an illegal market and business, which made it skyrocket in price. You had people like Al Capone that were bootleggers, the Kennedys that were bootleggers, right, and moonshiners. It was impossible to ban it, and so they had to eventually unban it and decided the way they're going to regulate it is by taxation, liquor licenses, and so forth, legitimize the business. And I imagine that the same will also happen to Bitcoin. It will be an asset that will be regulated, much like gold and silver are regulated, right? That's what I think is going to happen in the future, but wallahu alam. Okay? Gold is only valuable if their demand is that exactly, and also when the American or fiat currency is being threatened, generally assets like gold and silver that you can hedge against generally increase in value. Okay, so this is what we're happening. Okay, so we're looking. Let me see this. Meaning, if Bitcoin starts to be recognized as a true store of value, digital gold will be worth. Well, absolutely. And we're seeing that now. Today, we're seeing Elon Musk put $1.5 billion into Bitcoin. That's a huge investment. Apple announced they're going to be accepting Bitcoin. MasterCard announced that they're going to be accepting Bitcoin. Uber says they're going to be using Bitcoin. Canada announced ETFs on Bitcoin today. Ethiopia is looking to adopt Cardano for privatization and security of citizen data and allowing citizens of Ethiopia to monetize their own data. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff happening, right? You cannot deny that Wall Street and the governments are going to now recognize the value of Bitcoin, not only because it's some kind of coin, but because it offers a secure, fast, reliable, authenticated method of payment, right? And that's just what we're looking at. Without banks, without banking fees, without hiccups over the network, I mean, all these things, and without it being lost in transmission. For example, Miami, the mayor of Miami said, they're looking and exploring to accept Bitcoin as payments for taxes and bills and all these things. So Miami could be very much the first, cryptocurrency city in America. Who knows? But there's a lot going on here. Let me look what Anonymous says. But we're looking at a global scale. The real scarcity exists on gold, fiat, and crypto can be. Well, Bitcoin cannot be generated, right? Again, certain cryptocurrencies can be, and they're designed to be that way. For example, Dogecoin. That's why Dogecoin will never really rise above like 10, 20 cents. Maybe if it's crazy, maybe $1 at some point, but it won't rise up. Bitcoin has a rarity, meaning that there's only 21 million that can ever be mined. The project is only designed around 21 million, and nobody can increase it. because if it's not regulated by anybody, you would have to collectively change millions of ledgers, public ledgers in the world, and that just would be impossible to do. The whole thing would collapse. So it would not be possible to do that, right? So yeah. Yes, there are many altcoins, and that's true. And to be honest, and the sad thing to say is that many people will be duped and they will be conned by altcoins. And I tell people that be very careful when investing into altcoins, because not every altcoin is like the same, right? They're not all created equal. Some are just fun coins. Some are created for a purpose, just to move financial instruments around, right? There are very different things, right? So yes, altcoins are risky. They are not. They don't have a fair market share. They don't have a lot of attention. Their development is weak, and so there is a risk in investing in some of those altcoins. I'm talking about the penny ones. There are altcoins like Ethereum and Litecoin and Cardano and things like that. That are proven, right? I mean, they've been here. They've tested the time. They've been through the regulation and all of those things, and they're here. But you're going to see many of these penny, fractional penny altcoins that are not. There's potential to make a lot of money, right? But there's also a lot of potential to lose a lot of money as well too. So, do you think crypto can collapse the world financial system? Wall Street seems to be in a panic. Well, I don't think it's going to replace fiat currency. Not necessarily, because government in of itself need to have their own currency to trade among them, because they need to regulate among themselves, right? What I think is going to happen is Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general will be an asset like gold will be. And it's going to open up a new wave of young millionaires, like young people. Imagine a young person from the Philippines or from Myanmar or from Mongolia or from, it has Bitcoin. He's been buying Bitcoin and he's been making money, right? Or other cryptocurrencies, and they blow up, right? This person is being exposed to new money, right? It's a reset in a lot of ways, right? You ever hear the thing about the financial reset, right? In a lot of ways, many people who have never been able to go to college or who were never able to get opportunities. This is an opportunity for these individuals. There will be never an opportunity like this. I mean, I guess for the next 100 years is what I really believe. I think an opportunity like this comes once in a long time. The people that invest a lot in cryptocurrency today are going to be like the Rockefellers, and like they're going to be like the the Chases and the Carnegies, right? And they're going to be these people, the Fords, like I mean, this is a time where you're creating like potentially new billionaires, right? I mean, literally. I mean, imagine if you own like you know what I mean? Like, imagine if you have like 50 Bitcoins right now and you got them back in 2016. And Bitcoin hits $400,000 in 3 years. You're sitting on a ridiculous amount of money, right? And and there are people who essentially will inherit that, and they will pass it on. And you didn't really have to do something crazy to it, So I think this is going to cause some kind of reset economically and globally. You will find billionaires and millionaires popping out of all countries you didn't even realize. From the ghettos of East Asia to like to the ghettos of America, right? You're gonna find it all over, right? You're just gonna see a new money come out, and it's exciting to me because with automation, with the idea of UBIs, and with the potential, the innovation, the network and collaboration, we have new ideas. We have so much money we can invest in things like this, and Bitcoin is going to facilitate the capital required to generate that. And I think it's going to be a cool time. Who exactly is Satoshi Nakamoto? You know what? Nobody really knows. Some people think that it is a guy alive today. They say he died or was assassinated or something, but he would disappear off the internet. But some people think the guy behind Chainlink is actually Satoshi Nakamoto. But there are a lot of speculation about who is who. But again, it's unknown. So wallahu a'lam. Some people do believe Bitcoin can collapse by Bitcoin critics, but generally it's not proven it. Well, my question to the critics is, has Bitcoin collapsed? You know what? Let me give you a funny website. I'm gonna share my screen here. There's something funny. People began talking about something, and they said, you know what? They said Bitcoin is going to die, and so someone made a website saying, you know what? Every time Bitcoin they said it's going to die, we're going to create an obituary. So it says, you know what? This site recorded that 397 times that Bitcoin has died. They said Bitcoin is nothing. It gives you the article. One time, even already in January 31st, 2021, it says Bitcoin is nothing, right? And look, it hit new highs this month of $40,000, right? December 2010, why Bitcoin can't be a currency, right? But from 2010, imagine in 2021, already in 2021, only until February, we have 5 times. Somebody said 2020, 13 times, 2019, 41 articles, 2018, 93 articles. 2017, 124 articles. 2016, 28. 2015, 39. 2014, 29. Every time they said Bitcoin is going to be dead. It's 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 going to be dead. Right? But it comes back stronger and stronger and stronger. And that's my response to it. And you know what? If you want to know my credibility in the game, I brought Bitcoin 4 years before Elon Musk. So if you think Elon Musk is a genius, I'm a genius too, okay? No, I'm just kidding. But what I meant is, you know what I'm saying? So it took a long time for people who denied this. And now they're coming back, right? And they're saying, listen, you know what? We made a mistake. And the only people that don't want to do this are people who are arrogant. Like people like Michael Schiff. I mean, people like this who are coming out and they're trying to fight it and fight it and fight it. They're salty. They missed out on the opportunity. And if you're smart, and we as Muslims know something, that if you recognize an opportunity, if it's halal, you put down your arrogance, you put down your pride, you say, listen, there's an opportunity here to make money. And you know what? One of the reasons why I advocate this for Muslims is because of the fact that I believe that a lot of times we get caught in the rat race, and we become victims of being like caught in this whirlwind of working and chasing money and having to pay bills and all this stuff, right? But essentially what happens is that, a lot of the times we need to be self-sufficient. It would be better to be able to have a residual income that you can derive and support your family with, and live a lifestyle that's more nomadic, and a lifestyle that you can dedicate to what you want to do, right? You can study Islam. You can go to the 5 prayers in the masjid. You can make umrah. You can make hajj as much as you want. You can do sadaqah and zakat. You can do all these things, right? But you need money for this. Right? You need to be able to be financially independent. And there's no problem with it in Islam. Like some of the Sahabas, like Uthman radiallahu anh, his name was Uthman al-Ghani, meaning he was like, generous, right? How he attained his status. Abu Bakr radiallahu anh, how he freed the slaves with money, right? Abu Dhar al-Ghafari, he would give money away, right? I mean, these are things that, they were known for this, right? Allah had given them wealth, and it's not a problem with that, right? There's no issue with it. Why, so I think this is why I look at this as as an alternative to people who don't want to slave 9 to 5, who want to make I'm talking about investments today that will be, you're talking about income gains that are like early retirement type of gains, where you can say, you know what, I'm not working anymore. After I have enough money, alhamdulillah, I can buy some property, I can do this, I can travel the world, I can take, my $2 million in cryptocurrency and go move to whatever country, and maybe back home, maybe it's Yemen or it's India or it's Pakistan, and say, you know what, that's enough for me for a lifetime here. I don't have to work ever again. You know what I mean? I can go to whatever, Jordan, Saudi, whoever country, Morocco, doesn't matter, right? I mean, it's that financial freedom, right? And we know that financial stress causes a lot of problems in marriages and personal relationships and your own relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sometimes, right, it's a test. Allah says He will test you with wealth, with the loss of life, with food, with hunger, with your family, right? There's so many things. And we know that financial difficulties exacerbate any type of problem like this, right? Right, so, I heard about this too. I heard about this. Well, I'm trying to get to all the questions here. Let me just go up here. It will be regulated by modern paper currency. Also has roots in private sector. Absolutely. Competition, probably because many governments can't stop. Absolutely. Just trying to get through here. What about the issue of organized crime? Yeah, but I mean, organized crime is also facilitated using cash too, right? Seeking true knowledge, right? People, I mean, the mobs have used cash. They call racketeering, money laundering, right? They use laundromats, right? The cash businesses. I mean, you can, it's the age-old argument, right? Is money evil? Is money the root of all evil? And I say, no, it's not. Money, I believe there's an Arabic proverb, and it means, and it says basically in English, that money does not make you evil, but money reveals your true nature. If you are a good person, wealth or money will make you a better person. And if you are an evil person, money or wealth will make you a more evil person, right? So again, this applies to also with organized crime, with criminals, with all of that, right? I am in some ways, but I'm not really that much because I believe it's a long-term store. I mainly hold. I'm 80% invested in long-term and 20% for trading, just for whatever, and there's fun accounts for me. But I believe that its exponential growth is going to happen over the next 5 to 6 years. It's not even worth. If I'm going to do something like that right now to date, I probably have something like a 7-8 I think like a 12,000% increase over my dollar ROI. So I'm not really tracking it. It's just not really, but it's good to do that if you're new to it, so you can level up. Like if you're starting with lower money, you probably want to level up, right? And you want to say, hey, what's worth my money? What's worth my time? Should I, what are my profit goals? Write these things down. Don't just go into investing blindly, right? You want to make sure that you have a plan. If it drops down a little, how much are you willing to lose? What percentage can you lose and still be safe? If you can't, if you hit that zone, sell it off and take your cash and run out, right? You have to understand these things when you're investing, and maybe perhaps we can do a separate channel or video about that later on, about how to get investing and how to start and what to do. But yeah. Give me a second here to get some water. Let me see here. May Allah help you find your Bitcoin USB, man. Inshallah, you find it when you least expect it, bro. Maybe before, if you're not married, just before you're about to get married, maybe you find it and it gives you mahr. You get money for the mahr, inshallah. All right, so hopefully it'll be good for you. Hopefully you'll find it, inshallah, bro. Everyone, if you can make a dua, that brother M that finds it, so may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for him to find it and to benefit from it, inshallah. Is digital currency halal? I believe in general, yes it is, because for something to be haram, it has to be explicitly provided, or there has to be something about it generally which makes it haram. The use of it, if someone uses it for haram, it cannot be made haram just by that default. For example, like, that's my understanding, but I'm not a shaykh, wallahu alam, but I've spoken to different mashayikh about this, and I haven't seen an issue. For example, grapes can be used to make wine, but grapes are not intrinsically, they're not by default haram, right? You can be used for good and for bad. Money can be used for good and bad. It's not by default haram, right? It's how you use it which can be deemed as haram and halal, right? We should have a Muslim coin for the Ummah. I agree, absolutely. I think we should do that. I think we should have a Muslim coin for the Ummah. I think it's a good idea. Maybe call it a Khilafah coin, right? Who knows? It could be great. Some lost to USBs. That's why I'm afraid to invest in Bitcoin. And I can't. Well, you know what? There are online wallets. There are ways to secure now. There's multiple ways to do that. So maybe we can do another video later on about the different types of wallets and storing machine options and redundancy options, which is many of them. So yes, but it's a lot safer now than it was 10 years ago. Maybe like 5-6 years ago, I would say. Truth and knowledge of Islamic banks. Yeah, sure. Speaking of Islamic banks, there's a great story of a guy named Rajihi in Saudi Arabia who opened the interest-free bank, and he has 27 branches. The guy used to be a a very poor man from I think from Al-Baha or from somewhere in Saudi Arabia, where a Bedouin area, where he used to be take pictures of people on camels when they would come for Hajj and Umrah. And he developed this Islamic finance type of business where it's interest free, and he had all of the Khalij in some parts of Europe, and he made a lot of money without using interest and on Islamic banking. And he pledged all of his wealth away. He said, I came into the world with rags, with nothing, and I want to leave the world with nothing. So it's possible. Yeah, very possible to have Islamic cryptocurrency. Absolutely. I think it's a very good thing. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so you can sell on many exchanges. You can take cash. You can get a Bitcoin. I mean, you can get an ATM card. You can sell it. You can exchange it for US dollars and have it deposited into your bank account, depending on what you want to do for taxes. You can just pay people strictly in Bitcoin. I mean, there's a lot of options here. You can do what you want to do. I mean, pretty soon you'll be even allowed to buy Bitcoin with gold of Bitcoin, right? You can cash out, so to speak, in many different ways. There's plenty of options to do that. Many ways to do that. Yes, you can do in crypto markets and in person and crypto ATMs. You can do it. I mean, just in many ways. You can get a debit card with ATM. You can do that. But again, this is going to be something that is going to be unbanned very soon. When you see markets like Canada, when you see Bitcoin being accepted by Uber, by Apple, by Tesla, you're going to see that the weight that carries right? You understand that that's going to influence banks, or sovereign countries, right? They're going to say, well, hey, we don't want to miss out on Fortune 500 companies doing business with our nation because of the fact that we can't accept currency, right? So, you know what I mean? Like it's about to change. I mean, we're seeing a breakthrough. We're seeing a normalization and acceptance, a wide-scale acceptance of cryptocurrency and its importance, right? Yeah, Gambino used cash. The Genovese family, many people, many the outlaws, the Capone, many people did. I mean, just people use any type of. You can use whatever you want for good and bad, just like guns, right? You can use good guns, guns for good things and for bad things, right? This may sound like tinfoil hats, but what if if this were the Dajjal system, control the currency, control the world? Well, no, it's not a tinfoil thing. It's actually a good question. The problem, though, is that when you study Bitcoin, you realize that if the Dajjal wants to control with one world system, cryptocurrency is exactly the opposite of that. It's not controlled by anybody. It's controlled by everybody, right? So it's the opposite of a one world system. It's the opposite of central control. It's the exact opposite of giving one person control over your finances. It's actually a rebellion to that, right? It is a rebellion to that, telling you, listen, we don't trust you. We want to be in control of our own finances. We want to monetize ourselves. We want to be in control of it, our banking, and everybody wants to be their own bank. And so that's why, while it may be an interesting, not a far out conspiracy, but it could very well be systems that are in place right now to try to have a one world currency. I just don't think that cryptocurrency is going to be that one. I think cryptocurrency would be a challenge to anybody doing it. I think that's one of the reasons why many of these Wall Street guys and banking institutions and sovereign countries, they governments, they have a problem with this. All right. Let me see here. Yes. I'm not going to answer that question. That's not that. That's a little bit too. I don't like to disclose like financial information, but alhamdulillah, I have enough to make it. I've done very well for it. Alhamdulillah. Some people have a hard time trading on crypto platform, making deposits and making trades. These are issues with this now. There are many platforms, and I would suggest this. There are tutorials that are out there on YouTube if you're new to crypto, and don't be ashamed of it, right? This is new for everybody. Everybody, there's a learning curve with everything you do, even with the stock market, even with online banking. There's always a learning curve, right? Don't let that be something that puts you back. You can literally learn a trading platform in like an hour on YouTube, right? It can teach you how to add money, how to pull currency, how to buy, what are what are futures, what are options, what are market value price, what are bid prices. You can understand all that if you want to be a trader. If you simply want to buy Bitcoin to hold, you can buy on many simple apps like Coinbase, like Robinhood, so many, and transfer to a cold storage later on. I'll give you. I have a cold storage, and I have Coinbase. Like, for example, right now I was telling someone today, in my Coinbase, I leave here's my Coinbase. I don't know if you can see it, but I have a very simple small Coinbase. I use Coinbase right now just a trade account, and I have just various crypto I use in here, right? Amongst my portfolio, just very, very simple. I used whoops here. Let me see. You can see what my little. I use this for trading, right? So I use what I have in here. I just use. I use this to just do quick buys, right? And I transfer outside. Now they can be more expensive, sure, but for me, I'm not worried about that, right? I'm looking at the long term. If I'm holding, if I know Bitcoin is going to be right now I want to buy. I'm on the go. I can't go to the exchange, and I know that there's going to be. I'm looking at the charts, and there's a dip. I'm buying, right? So I'm going to do a quick buy. I know it's going to be good for me. So do what's easy for you. Don't overburden yourself. If you're not a technical guy, you don't want to be a trader, you want to be a day trader, just know what kind of investor you are and find a platform that works for you, right? And you can there's tons of research about this out there, tons of information. There's a 1,000,001 crypto channels. There's one channel that I really like. I follow these guys. His name is MM Crypto. And then there's also The Moon, which I follow as well too, which is a good channel. They do wonderful work and stuff like this. So now, I think we've got there. Hold on. Okay, we got that question. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu rahmatullahi barakatuh. Rent involved in some crypto market. I don't know. I've never heard of any rent being paid involved. Maybe there is a fee for transactions, which is normal. With pretty much any banking or anything like that, you trading platform. But there are certain ways that you can do it without doing that. Yes, exactly. They go crazy, but it is what it is. That's what we want. We want to make them crazy. You know what I mean? We want to make them, give them a little something to talk about, right? Anyways, let me see here. Blockchains, zakat organizations. Yeah, absolutely, exactly. And they can be secure, and governments cannot, and the UN can't, UNICEF can't just take money and steal the money from the people, because many of the governments, when you give zakat, and they go to certain organizations, the local government takes 70-80% of that. These so-called charities, they go out and they have overhead expenses and they have briberies, right? So maybe this could be a better way of transferring funds to people without using banks, right? It could be literally available. Like if you gave somebody Cash App, right? For example, there's an app like Cash App like this. You could transfer money anywhere in the world to Bitcoin at any time, and they can just get their money instantaneously. Can you imagine a network where you can say you can link a person to give zakat to anywhere in the world? You can say, listen, hey brother, it's zakat season. I want to give zakat. It could be verified, right? There's so many cool things you can do with this technology. It's amazing to me, right? It's amazing what you could do, right? It's amazing what could happen with this. The potential is unlimited, right? When there could be an Ummah coin and a ride at the time, exactly. Yeah, they try to shut it down, possibly, maybe, but you can't shut it down because it's decentralized. That's the greatest part about it, right? Yes, inshallah. When's your next video on APUS coming? Inshallah, very soon. I need to make one, but I've been traveling here and there, but I've been kind of busy too doing other things, but I will do one on maybe David Wood or APUS. I should actually do one on APUS. You're actually right. I've been giving David Wood a little too much attention. I should probably get back to APUS and Abdullah Samir and one of those goofball, but I think they're kind of fighting right now over Zahra K about her cheesecake fiasco, and so maybe I'll do something about that later on. Cryptocurrency for me, you have to figure out exactly. Well, you have to. Everyone takes their time to figure out, but my suggestion is do not delay this. It's something. There's an important crossroad that we are at right now in history, and you don't want to look back and say I should have done the research and decided and have regrets. If you do the research and you decide, right now I don't want to buy it, that's fine. But I'm saying don't let this period pass and it rise and have intrinsic value, and you say, oh, I should have done more research. it literally, you could probably know all you need to know about cryptocurrency in about just a day or two if you really more than enough information to decide whether it's something you want to invest and you view you see yourself having a long-term future in general. Okay, off topic. You heard about the recent New York Times scandal about the Caliphate podcast? Yeah, we should. I'll let them know. Yeah, I will. We were talking about that offline, so I will definitely get into that. Jazakallah khair for that. I get that they're selling a point, I believe, but they will figure out how to track and regulate it. I don't see government institutions adopting it before they figure out. Of course. Well, I mean, you know what? I mean, if they don't want to, they'll be behind. Right? Let's just be honest, right? They will be behind in this, and that's just how it's going to be, right? They will be behind, and people won't be able to, I mean, put it this way. People will continue, right, onward, regardless of what the government does, right? That's what we've shown them already, right? That even if you try to ban cryptocurrency, you're going to, we're going to continue using it, even if you want to ban exchanges, and that's why they had to eventually allow it. You can't regulate something that it's unregulatable. You can't do it, right? That's why they're panicked. But what they will do, regulation will come in the form of taxation, right? Taxation will be the limit, right? But then again, if you are smart, you know how to take advantage of tax loopholes and you know how to move your currency around. Not advocating anything, follow the laws in your country, but just saying, right? This is nothing new, right? Many rich people, many smart people have found loopholes that are legal loopholes, right? So, have you studied quantum computers for cryptocurrency? Yeah, I haven't studied it, but I'm aware of it, and I think that they will be required. But as Bitcoin, as the mining ends up coming to a halt, for Bitcoin in the near future, 5 to 10 years, I don't think you're going to require the same type of compute power, because many of these they're learning, that it's not sustainable to have currencies that require such intensive mining operations. That's one thing that we've learned about that, right? You understand, So I do understand that it's valuable, but I just think that it's not going to be there. Best source of research. Well, I just did a lot of reading on the internet and on Reddit forums. But you know what? I love this one, news.bitcoin.com. I love it. I read a lot about what's going on. That's what I believe. Hold on here. Oh, you mean interest? No, there's no interest in cryptocurrency, not at all. There's no muraba'ah, not at all. Unless you have an agreement with somebody to do that. There's no interest at all, because it's not a bank. They're not financial institutions. They cannot give you interest. It's like for example, if I own gold, it's like trading gold, Banu. Tata, you can. I'm sorry. It's like trading gold. You cannot give interest on gold unless you negotiate that. By default value, it's not. It doesn't have an interest attached to it, right? So there's no muraba'ah with that, right? Unless you are working with an organization that uses Bitcoin as leverage to charge you interest, to sell you Bitcoin for interest, right? Like that's something else, or gives you a loan based on interest, right? That's something different. But that's generally a side market. That's not the main market for it. And that may be true for some people. If it sounds like that, but a Ponzi scheme must have someone that benefits at the top. Right, and who is that individual? If you want to identify a Ponzi scheme, right, you have to look at the people at the top benefiting. Right, who is benefiting from who's the company that you have to ask yourself that. Who is the benefactor here? Am I benefiting? In a Ponzi scheme, the little guy doesn't benefit, right? We may make a chump change, but in this case, in cryptocurrency, the little guy is making millions of dollars. Literally, I'm quite literally millions of dollars. So I get the skepticism behind it, but it's I just don't see the comparison. I think some of that comes out of ignorance, that some people don't, because they can't fathom that a new asset could be created, and they can't understand. But when you start reading about why cryptology and blockchain is important for the future, not just for currency, but for trading, for secure information, for document verification, for securing of personal information, for validation and verification, for movement of data. You understand that there's intrinsic value in just having Bitcoin in and of itself around. The process of this validating transactions and being rewarded for that is huge. It's a big thing. You'll understand that once you begin reading it. And if you really want more information, if you want to do a deep dive and get lost in it, into the abyss, read the Bitcoin white paper. Read the Bitcoin white paper and read what they wrote about it. Read what the project was. Read why they wanted to do that. Right? Where did I get my lights? You mean my Litecoins, or you mean my lights behind me? I'm not sure which one you mean. Maybe you can clarify. If you mean the lights behind me, that's Amazon. If you mean my Litecoins, I bought them early on Coinbase, and I still have many of them on Coinbase. I transferred some off too, but I still have many on Coinbase as well too. So let me see here. India to launch their own cryptocurrency. Yes, exactly. But the problem with MM is that people like me who understand cryptocurrency and been involved with it, I would stay away from a currency that's regulated by a government. I don't want a currency regulated by a government. That's why I chose to invest into Bitcoin and other coins, because if I want something controlled by the government, I'll just get into Forex trading. Why would I use Bitcoin or any type of cryptocurrency from the government? I'll just Forex trade their currency, right? I mean, why would I allow them to now give them control again to manipulate the market? It makes no sense, right? I don't think they'll do very well. They might use those coins internally, and it might be a one-for-one representation, so they can peg their dollar or their currency to a particular Bitcoin or a particular cryptocurrency, like maybe Ethereum, maybe Bitcoin, maybe whatever it may be, anything like that. But I don't think it's in and of itself is going to have value more than what the GDP of a country is worth or whatever it may be. It's something going to be very limited. At least for someone like me. I don't see why anybody in the market would say, oh, I can't wait for America to come out with its own cryptocurrency, or, Qatar or China or one of the Khalij countries with the high GDP. We don't want countries or individuals to have control and manipulation power over the currency. That's the very point of it. Yes, interesting. Okay, thank you. Okay, we did this part already. All right. Bitcoin is haram. What's up, Malik? How you doing? Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. All right. Absolutely. So here's the thing. I think in the short term, it's going to have an effect, Sabil Ahmed, but in the long term, no. I believe in the long term, it'll be like this. Like, imagine, for those of you that are familiar with the non-ferrous metals markets, or like gold and silver, platinum, generally there's a relationship with fiat currency and those markets, right? And that is that when the American dollar or the dollar of your choice or the pound, when there's high inflation, or when the value goes down, or when the credit rating is dropped, the physical stored assets, the hedging assets, they tend to end up going higher in price. And when the economy is stable, when the dollar is strong, when there's low inflation, you tend to see those currencies, those assets, they drop in value, right? So likewise, I believe the same will happen with Bitcoin. Bitcoin will probably shoot up in pricing when the currencies are when there's a weakening of the American dollar, or there's a threat of war, or looming depression, or some kind of catastrophic event that will cause the prices of the Bitcoin to go up. And also it'll help people. People will pull their money out of US dollars and put them into secure assets like Bitcoin, things like that. So that would be the long-term effect of it, right? It'll be a pull and tug relationship, right? Bear and bull kind of relationship type of thing, Sabil. But I don't think cryptocurrency in and of itself is going to replace fiat currency, because governments can control it, and they must have a currency that they can control, right? That's so. I don't think they need to have a central bank, and Bitcoin will never be part of a central bank. And I think many governments don't want to make it part of a central bank yet, or holding. Do you think cryptocurrency is the best commodity asset to invest in decade amidst the... Yeah, I think, in my opinion, dude, I will give my short opinion. I'm not a financial advisor. I think Bitcoin, if Bitcoin is not worth more than $150,000 by the end of 2021, I would be surprised. I mean, I would shock myself. So I believe that in the next 5 years, Bitcoin had the potential to reach millions of dollars. And so I see that but remember, it's a it's a 5-year roadmap. If you invest today, maybe there might be a correction in the market. Maybe it'll drop down, from the market today. It might lose $5,000 in one day. But remember, in cryptocurrency, you never lose until you pull your money out, right? If you pull your money out, you lose the money. But right now, the thing is that, for example, right now it's $47,000 right now, almost $48,000 in today for Bitcoin pricing. It may correct itself down. Let's say you bought $500 today, right? You know what? It may drop down. Let's say it drops down to $40,000, the correction, right? Don't worry about it. Because your plan is not for short term, it's long term. You need diamond hands. We call it, diamond hands. Don't have paper hands. Don't just sell them. You're holding on to them. You know what I mean? You're holding on to this asset, right? So you know that in 10 years, in 5 years, I'll give you an example. 5 years ago, Bitcoin was worth, if you want to do the math, 5 years ago, Bitcoin was worth maybe a few $100s, right? If just to give you an exponential understanding, growth, the exponential growth, right? 45,000% increase in Bitcoin 5 to 6 years ago. Have that long-term mindset. There are certain altcoins I would say you don't hold, right? Like, the quick pump and dumps. You just buy them, you see the trend, you dump them out. But I'm saying long-term strategy like Bitcoin, Ethereum, these are long-term, what you call your blue chip, right? Like, these are going to be, and right now you're seeing a lot of these altcoins make money because this is altcoin season, right? And that means that it's going to be a very good time to buy them. But I would never hold them beyond. I think by the end of 2021, you're going to see a huge market correction. You're going to see the fact that Bitcoin might drop a little bit here and there. Altcoins will probably drop. And I think that you're going to see that because of after the correction of Bitcoin, you're going to see Bitcoin hit a new high, and that will also cause altcoins to drop down. And of that nature. Usually when Ethereum goes high, altcoins go high. When Bitcoin goes very high, altcoins tend to take a little bit lower of a drop because people want to, they're foaming at the price of Bitcoin. But anyways, I would say yes. I would say yes. It is a very good investment. Let me see here. Can I start with $500? Absolutely. You know what? I'll give you an example. Arsalan, I'm sorry. Arsal Inam. Okay, I'm gonna tell you something. I was telling people I have multiple accounts, and this account on Coinbase. I'll tell you something here. This one here, I'll do a little bit of show and tell. I don't like to do too much of it, but this one here, it's got about $9,800. I started this account with $1,200, and I worked my way up. And this was back in March, right? So you can definitely trade up. And right now, I move around different assets on here. But, this is just, I wanted to play around with Coinbase. Not because I like Coinbase. I think there are many other applications that are better with lower fees and transaction fees. But I wanted to see on the fly. I wanted to try around with it. And there's money to be made despite even the high transaction fees. Now, one thing I like about Coinbase is that although it's high in pricing, it's easy for the common guy to invest in. It's on the go. It's on the fly. It's very simple. You don't have to make these margins and stuff. You don't have to understand all these things. You can simply buy and hold, right? If you're in it to just for a long-term asset, like just not to trade, just to buy and hold because you want to diversify yourself, Coinbase is a great place to start, right? And you can, as you learn the market, as you learn how to trade, how to use these platforms like Binance, like BitBuy, Bybit, and many different platforms. You can learn to use them, and there's plenty of tutorials. But until then, you don't want to miss out. The biggest challenge with anything in life, especially investments, is pulling the trigger, right? People say, I would have, I should have, I could have brought this, I could have done that. You've got to be bold, right? The only way you're going to make money in life is with risk. The higher the risk, the higher the return. The lower the risk, the lower the return. If you want to make money, you have to put some risk in it. And how much money you make will depend on how much, first and foremost, obviously, how much God gives you. But aside from that, how much risk you're willing to take along with it, right? So, you know what? Risk what you can risk losing. If you can only risk $500, start with that. But the good thing about it, if you lose it, you lose it. It's no big deal. You don't ruin yourself. Don't ruin yourself over investments. Money comes and money goes, right? Life is that way. Someday you find upon you come across more money. Some days you're in a tough spot, right? That happens. But plan accordingly, right? That's my point. Okay. Let me see here. There will be corrections. Absolutely. Corrections are good. You need corrections in order for new highs to be hit. Actually, I'm going to show you something. Hold on. Let me just see. The quantum for the big qubits were required to break down Bitcoin's code. All the Bitcoin uses a mining process called, SHA 256, right? But now the problem though with this though is that if they could somehow find a way to hack the process and to reverse engineer SHA 256, right? And if they were able to do that, and to learn new blocks, right? The problem is that the ledgers that are out there, the independent ledgers, would need to then be also updated, and that's impossible to do, right? They would detect the community would determine a massive changing of the ledger, and they would determine something is wrong here, right? And so the verification wouldn't happen in the pool. That's the whole problem, right? It has to be verified by other people's ledgers. So even if you want to alter your own ledger by reverse engineering, creating more Bitcoins and saying, okay, there's more than 21 million Bitcoins, other ledgers are going to reject it and say this is not validation, right? It's not going to validate that way. But anyways, Coinbase sucks for Canadians. Coinbase is high price. It is very high price, no doubt. But I'm saying I think it's better than leaving it around for people who don't want to, who have no idea of what a trading platform is. It can be overwhelming, and how to learning how to transfer in your finances, learning what a crypto wallet is, learning what a send address is, what a receiving address is. All that is confusing for people, right? Maybe for someone who's more advanced in it, who understands these things, Coinbase is obviously a secondary option, right? There are many different exchanges you can use that will be better for you to use, but you can get to that as you become more comfortable as a trader or a Bitcoin holder or cryptocurrency trader. Yes, good old days. I remember I brought in when Litecoin was $20. Those are the days. I never was involved in Bitcoin when it was $300. When I got involved, it was like $800, $900. I think I had $1,200. But those were still good old days to me. I wish Bitcoin was at $1,200 today. I would empty out my entire savings and I would buy $1,200 Bitcoins all day long. I would sell my kidney and buy some $1,200 at that price. Right. Yes. I didn't talk about this because I personally am not a scholar, but I haven't seen anything intrinsically haram about it. I've talked to scholars and I haven't seen anything. I'm pretty convinced that it depends. It's like an asset, right? Like gold. If you can call gold haram and halal, it's an asset. It's what people are willing to pay for it. You know what I mean? So again, I'm not a big, I got into that, but follow the scholar of your choice. If you're a scholar of your choice, is giving you advice, then if you believe he's convincing, he's giving you evidence from the Quran and Sunnah, take it above Mort. Mort is a jahil, right? So don't listen to me about that. I'm not here to give you a fatwa about it. Paxful is very nice. I'm not on that. But it's one of the older ones. It was founded in 2015. They have you can buy Bitcoin. You get Bitcoin gift card. You can have a wallet. But there's over 300 plus payment methods for that. So yes, it's not bad. That's one of the many ones. But I would do a tutorial if you're not familiar with it. Make sure you do a tutorial about that before you get involved. That way you know. Do you do your own technical? I do in some ways. I use some people as well too. Let me give you an example of something that I use, and I got this from certain people. But I'll show you what I do. What I mean here. Let me go to our website. So I'm going to show you something that I look into. I like this Pi cycle, and this is what some of the research that I do here. Look into Bitcoin.com is also a very good website. I like this website. So look at this. This is a Pi cycle top indicator, right? And what it's looking at is this guy comes out with a chart. It's very interesting. He says that before we get to the chart, let's read what he types here. He says for the past 3 market cycles, when the 111 right? When the daily moving average moves up and crosses the 350 daily moving average times 2, we see that it coincides with the price of Bitcoin peaking. So what does he mean? He's talking about when this orange line, when it crosses this green line. The blue line is the price of Bitcoin, and he highlights this. I don't know if you've seen this right here. In April of 2013, it's when it crossed, and you saw Bitcoin jump to a new high, right, to 230 some odd dollars. The next time it crossed, it happened right here in December of 2013, and it hit a new high, and it went to $1,200. Then we saw a new jump, right, in December of 2017, right, and it hit $8,000 in the new high, right? And so what's interesting is that we're coming right now. Here we are in December. It's very around the same time, right? And we're about to, if you look at this part right here, we're about to hit that green line, and that is representing exponential growth. And that will, right now the pricing was about $50,000. I anticipated that line hits that or crosses it, the daily moving average. We will see Bitcoin shoot to $100,000 very, very soon. Very soon, by the end of the year. So this kind of technical analysis I've learned to do by watching videos, by researching, by doing this, because I've been involved with it. But you don't need to know this to get into it. I mean, what you need to know is people are like, the richest man in the world is buying cryptocurrency. That's what you need to know right now, right? Like, that's what you know. Like, that's what you need to know right now, right? You know what I mean? Like, the richest man in the world is buying Bitcoin. Apple, some of the richest Fortune 500 companies in the world are adding it to their holding portfolios. You know, you don't need to reinvent the wheel, guys. Many of us who were younger in the game took the risk, right? We said, you know what, we're going to buy Bitcoin. We're just saying, hey, this is what we've been saying all along. It's just manifesting itself, right? And that's what I really believe about it. I believe that the work has been done now, you know, and that's why the people who took that risk very early on, they're being rewarded. But now the people, the Elon Musk, these, you know, the Tims, Larry Ellisons, the Jeff Bezoses, right? They're learning now that, you know what, that Bitcoin is not going anywhere, and you're gonna either play nice or you're gonna be, you're gonna be dissolved by it, right? You're gonna be taken over by it, right? If Amazon doesn't take Bitcoin, well, guess who's gonna take it? AliExpress and eBay. And so guess what, Amazon, you're taking Bitcoin now. Hey, Apple, you don't want to take Bitcoin? Guess who's going to take Bitcoin? That's right, Samsung's going to take Bitcoin. So you better take Bitcoin. Hey, Facebook, you don't want to take Bitcoin? Okay, guess who's going to take Bitcoin? I don't know, some new platform, but it's coming, right? YouTube, you don't want to take Bitcoin? Guess what? BitChute's going to take Bitcoin. So people are going to go over there. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's just, you know, like, it's coming. It's coming. Right? It is what it is. So that's how I feel. The storm is coming. This is the calm before the storm. This is very calm for Bitcoin. Like right now, everything is just very, very calm. But that's my analysis. That's how I feel about it. Do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor. I like to make money. I think money is good. I enjoy money. My plan is to retire very soon, and I think I'm getting to my goal. But that's me. Right? What thing, you know, what works for me, it works for you. It may work for someone different. It's not for everybody. But I still believe that having some Bitcoin in your portfolio is a good idea, at least for hedging purposes. You may not want to be heavily invested in it, but to not have it as part of your portfolio is a little bit silly. Sure, yes, you can. Absolutely. We should say for Ismail. Yeah, exactly, man. You know, at least pay your zakat on it. You know what I mean? So that way it's not bad. Yeah. funny. Awesome. Yeah, maybe we can do. Maybe Malik Canada, I can bring you on the show one of these days, and we could talk about what because I'm a total ignorant when it comes to mining. I don't know much about mining. But maybe that might be an interesting idea to talk about what mining is, and because some people say it's profitable, some say it's not. What coins to mine? How do you know it's worth the risk, the energy you're putting into it? Because some coins they're not really worth anything. So maybe we can talk about that on a different show one day. You can just tell you trade forex with. I dabbled in forex, but I will tell you this much, Melik, that forex trading is much riskier than cryptocurrency is. I will say that much. Absolutely, you can share a link, no problem. That's it. Nah, we're blaming you for all our losses. Yeah, exactly. You should. No problem, man. All right. Well, I think I'm going to wrap this one. It's been an hour. I got a lot of your questions here. If you have any questions, DM me on Twitter or shoot me a message or you leave a comment down below. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I'm not going to put any links here for any kind of platforms, exchanges, whatever. Do your research. If I can help you, I'll help you. But just a quick wrap up here. We're going to go back up to, we had a super chat earlier on from the brother, and he wanted to know what altcoins do I suggest people look into. Well, I will say this much right now. I think there's some promising coins. I think Cardano is one of those coins that are really going to have huge adoption in many places today, in the world. I think that's something to look at. There is a coin called NewsCypher. I think that's a very good coin that's going to be coming up as an altcoin. Chainlink is also a very good coin. There's a coin called Synthetic, which is also, it's offering stocks that are not available to different people in different worlds on a synthetic market online. So it's 1 for 1. So it's like if you want to buy it in the Chinese market, you could potentially buy the equivalent of that in the synthetic world on that platform. So a very cool project. There's one called Uniswap, which is very good. I like Tezos. Tezos is a very good coin as well too. I believe there's some possibility. By the way, I'm keeping out stuff like Ethereum and Litecoin and that stuff because I believe these are already solidified. I love Ethereum. I love Litecoin. I love these things. They're very good coins to buy. I'm talking about smaller coins that are going to be earning some money. But yeah, I think Algorand. So Algo is another good cryptocurrency coming up. I believe it's going to have a lot of potential. There's a Aave, which is another one. This is a good. It's another currency. It's a little pricey right now, but I believe it has potential to go very high. It's about 500 something. I think 20 a coin right now. But there are many coins like this that I believe these are some of the hot ones. But these are the ones that I believe to watch. Okay, XRP. I think it has a lot of potential, Sabil, but March 25th is the year or the day to watch out because right now they're under investigation by the SEC. The SEC wants to call them an asset. They're denying that they are. They're looking to settle with the SEC, and the court date is settled for March 25th. If they can settle with on March 25th and they have no problem, you will see XRP be a $1 coin right away. It should be a $1 coin. It's severely undervalued. But on a technical analysis, there's many reasons why people don't like XRP. For example, that it has a lot of control from some foreign elements, and they're burning a lot of coins. They have the volume is a lot, but banks are using it to transfer money, which is between each other, which is a very important tool. So I believe XRP has some potential, but I would not buy anything until you get news closer to March 25th. I would follow the news around it very carefully. I would say that, if it doesn't break a settlement in March 25th, I think that it could probably suffer because there are other coins that are doing the same thing it can do and are readily available that are not being investigated. So, the project will lose momentum in and of itself. That Cardano is filling the void right now, right? I think that. You know what I mean? But XRP, it did go up very much today. I mean, it's I think 50 something cents. Let me check it. I think 50 cents today went up. And by the way, guys, just so you know, at one point I had $20,000 of XRP. At one point, and I sold a lot of it off. But I had a XRP. I was a big fan of XRP for a while. 63 cents today, 15% increase. In 1 week, that's been a 40% increase. So yes, but then again, this is altcoin season. So altcoins will go up. Remember, they won't always stay up. So take advantage. If you think XRP is a good buy, find the right dip time. If you think it's going to dip, because corrections happen, buy in the dip, buy low, sell high. Right? Remember that. Remember that. How about these altcoins? Well, you can transfer, coins to Binance. You can do, exchanges like we mentioned earlier, like, Bybit, GDAP, that became Coinbase Pro. There are many exchanges you can be on. There's some like Kraken. There are Uniswap. Many, so you can do that. Some of the quick ones like XRP and these I'll just buy on Coinbase because I'm playing around on it. But again, Coinbase has a very small amount of these altcoins that are trending, but you can make but there's a good amount of them. I think most of what I mentioned so far right now are on Coinbase. Hold on. Let me check here. Ava is on Coinbase. It's AAVE. Orchard is OXT. Uniswap is UNI. Tezos is XTZ. Yeah, they're all there. Chainlink is Link. They're all there. The only one I believe that's not there is Synthetic, I think. Synthetic is not there. Oh, Synthetic just got added. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's there. 62 cents. There you go, PJ. By the way, good to see you, PJ Williams. Great to have you. Assalamu alaikum. But yes, so there are many altcoins. I will try to post them, but I'm not a big altcoin guy. But I tell you, there are people I like to follow. MM Crypto and The Moon. These guys are good to follow. They do a lot of technical analysis. Make sure you do that. Dogecoin is a fun coin, but is it a long-term coin? I don't know. I will say this much. I was very skeptical about it. I didn't buy it, but if Dogecoin drops to 2 to 3 cents, I will buy it just to pump it. But I don't think it has any long-term value. If you read the technical paper, it's just a fun coin, right? It's just a fun coin. It has no real value, no real project stuff on it. So during altcoin season, if you can make money, if you can pump it, dump it, right? It's not a long-term store, in my opinion. That's just my financial, take on that. But I'm not an advisor. Okay, I think we got a lot of the questions out. It's been an hour and a half. I think it's been a good session. It's been good, right? So I think now is a good time to stop. Remember to like and this video so that the algorithm recognizes that, so we get more exposure to cryptocurrency and just the channel in general. It would be greatly appreciated if you can share the video even better. Share it to your Twitter, share it to your Facebook, share it to any platform you want to. And if you want to have more of these kinds of videos, like maybe not an hour and a half long live stream about cryptocurrency, but something shorter, maybe 20, 30 minutes, maybe a bi-weekly thing, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys would like this kind of content, these kinds of videos about this stuff, let me know and we can possibly set something up. Get something going because, I think at least for the next year or so, cryptocurrency is going to be in the news. It's going to be making big moves and a lot of people are going to be, it's buzzing, right? So let me know what you guys think about that. As always, it was a pleasure to have you guys with me this wonderful evening. And inshallah, we will catch you guys. And next time, I will be doing some other videos on, David Wood and Apus. And then I got to do something with... with the Sunni Discourse and also the Mad Mamluks. I got just so much stuff going on, but stuff is coming out. Stay tuned. I'm almost done moving. Stay tuned, and new content is coming out. For those of you that are subscribed and members on the YouTube channel, thank you very much. Hats off to you. And same with my Patreon members. I will be putting out a video out tomorrow on Patreon for the private members. And so if you have your questions, if you are a Patreon or YouTube member, make sure you get your questions to me in the email or DMs or privates, and I will address those questions about cryptocurrency in that video, inshallah. Okay. Anyways, so we will see you guys later. Okay, inshallah. Take care. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Let's talk.